I got up to read a poem for my high school at this special event called Let's Sit Around, Be Cool, Drink Tea and Read Poetry. The poem was an Airhead piece on melted butter eyes, angels on a high, how cute we were together. And this is where it got particularly sticky. You see, the poem talked implicitly about sexual intercourse. Afterwards, I'm pulled aside by the Policia Academia and told that I can't say S-word like that on stage. They tell me that a poem like that is not appropriate. And what I wrote when I got home was, this is public education, which means that one of the kids you're teaching has been through some foo-bar S-word. S-word that would make your blood curdle. You talk to me about censorship, and the major problem I have with it is that you think these kids can't handle it. Somebody in your room has probably lived through looking backwards every time they walk down the staircase, or flinching whenever they hear a door close. By the time they graduate, 50% of the kids around you will have smoked a lid. The last study they did in '97, 21,000 Canadian girls had gotten pregnant that year, and more than half of them had had an abortion. I don't know how a far right wing can say that it's inappropriate for a 15-year-old boy to hear a poem about love, but 3 years later, it's all right for him to drive an ATV into a landmine in the Middle East. I'm pretty happy folks have sex. Unless you're new wave and you were born in a vat of phospholipids without your parents getting together for a romantic evening, you wouldn't be here listening to Oh My Bull S-word. And wouldn't that be such a drag? You'd be stuck in some endless abyss where all the angels say things like, what a gosh darn silly Billy, for all infinity, and you just want to grab one of them by the collar and say, shut the front door. Why is it that teachers can quote Romeo and Juliet and tell us to understand it, but when we get up in a public environment to talk about the same motifs, we get shut down? Why is it okay for our teacher in social studies to tell us to use a condom, but it's not okay for a kid to talk about the time he didn't? These regulations and systems and clockwork operations are ripping down the banners of our freedom. Your parents should tell you about the do's and don'ts of love and violence. You should go out into the world armed with your culture, not the cookie-cutter mottos and philosophies of the fellows in Parliament. These words that I'm not supposed to say right now, the F word, for example, it's derivative from Latin. Latin is from 75 BC. The word is older than Christ himself, and to me, anything that's ancient is sacred enough that I should be able to say it. The only thing bad about sex is bad sex. And the only dirty word involves broncos and excrement. And the only BS is that we've become so disconnected. It's an ugly thing to say. It's not popular. But the truth is, we're in a sea of confusion, surrounded by ball gags and handcuffs, diet magazines that write about 10 great tricks so your boyfriend won't leave you, where love is consumed by consumer culture and ripped limb from limb, dissolved into a free market all about sex. We sell sex. By the time you boys are 18, on average, you'll have watched 400 hours of pornography. You'll have seen more women naked than you've met in person. We're not fighting back from objectification, kinky strangulation, and fornication. There's more rape than there are roses, more black schlongs than love songs. And if we write about it, maybe we can salvage a little emotion. Maybe we can hold on to a little decency. You know, I think kids have respect for ideology, religion, politics, and sexual preferences, and I think it's that respect that makes some of us want to get up here and say whatever it is you don't want us to say. It's because kids are still dumb enough to have some passion in them before it'll get sucked out of them like they concentrate from a juice box. With the bell go here, sit, stand, oh Canada, 10, hot, soak it, TOA, CRT, PRT, CBE, ADD, ADHD, FYI. Why are we quoting arbitrary acronyms without meaning? Why are we instituting meter without rhythm, telling students that they better learn how to swim, and then just teaching them how to hold their breath? Since the birth of standardized testing, the ADHD apocalypse has radically increased, and I think it's because I'm being bred to say certain things, but not other things, and to quote certain lines, but not other lines, and all I really want to know is why we get praised learning trigonometry, but we've got to survive in our dreams to learn dance. I hear people say things like, drama is a waste of time. It's a slacker course. It's an art that has been honed since the Greeks, man. And the problem is, we're praying to the sacred gods of university. Please, please, oh holy Lord, let me through the golden gates of dentistry. These F-wording public schools are robbing us of our identity, and I don't know who to blame. I've got nothing but profound respect and gratitude for those that take up the weight of the teaching profession, but I've got nothing but fear for every time someone says, open up your textbook to page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, page 5, and all I hear is 666. So, if you hear anything I say tonight that isn't bleeped out in the recording I make, hear this. People say to us, while we huddle beneath and behind our desks like Cold War bomb drill victims over the intercom, in our gym, while we're dressed up all neat, in our dresses, uniforms, and jerseys, people say to us, you'd better be ready for the real world. The one waiting outside these doors. And my question is, who the F word ever said we wanted a fake one? Who asked you to hide us from reality? Please, Mr. Smith, please, Mom and Dad, please, Uncle Sam, I don't want any more. I don't want any more. I don't want any more of your Adderall, Concerta, Daytrana, Dexoxin, Dexedrine, Dexostrat, Focalin, Metadate, Methylene, Ritalin LA, or Ritalin SR. I don't want you to tell me everything will be all right while you stick the chloroform cloth over my lips. And as we, sweet peaches and cream machines, march into a dawn of Gaddafi, global warming, economic downturn, religious fundamentalism, and technological ghost towns, as fear creeps its way into our ranks while the weak ones scream, they're too young to die, I wonder if we're ready. And I just wish they'd let me read my F-wording poem. But right now, as I read this, the Charter of Rights and Freedoms is too expensive. It's too complicated. I'm not being realistic. Right now, in this old and worn-out theater, as we sip our tea, we pretend to be cool and we read our poetry, we've sold our souls to efficiency. Right now, I've got a few choice words that I want to scream out to all the faceless suits and ties behind mahogany desks that are chaining me down. Right now, I've got a few choice words, but I'll just settle for... Ah! Ah! But you know what? If we all live by our own terms, if we do what we do to be who we are, if we don't act like chimpanzees jumping through hoops for the grades and the money, then someday they'll hear what we say. Someday we'll be able to speak. Someday we'll be able to say something besides beep, beep, beep.